Two guys in the dark.
A few years ago, I was on the outs with a very dependent girlfriend. What started out as just casual dating turned into her practically living at my house, needing to constantly be in contact with me, and always trying to spy on my social media accounts. She was extremely depressed, and used my sympathy as a weapon to keep pulling me back whenever one of her crazy actions would push me away. It took my stupid, younger self a long time to see the pattern. When I finally did, and she realized that she was losing me, she ran over my dog, thinking that the grieving process would bring us back together. The worst part is, it kind of did. The pain of having to drive my dog to the vet, put him down, was too much for me to handle on my own, and for once, she was there for me instead of the other way around. Until a few weeks later, when she drunkenly admitted that she had done it. I had never been so mad about anything. I was raised to never raise my hand to a woman, but my morals were seriously tested at that point. I just couldn't get the trip to the vet to put the little guy down out of my head. How could this person that loved me have done something so psychotic? I threw all her shit out and had to physically remove her from my house. I filed a restraining order, but before it went through, I had to threaten to press charges just to keep her away. I haven't talked to her since. I feel bad for anyone that gets caught up in her psycho shit. I thought that she loved me, but that really led me to wonder if she was some kind of psycho or sociopath who had been playing me for a fool this whole time. My ex from 10 years ago was an abusive alcoholic. I had enough of her false promises and constant crap that I just walked out. In the next few months, she would phone my house, drunkenly, gloating about who she screwed. Show up to my parents, drunk, just demanding to talk to me. Various times, she was verbally abusive to my mother, who basically told her to screw off before she called the cops. Threatened to lie to the police that I abused her son. Threatened to tell the police that bruises on her body, all from being drunk all the time and falling over a lot, was from me. Ironically, she was the one who beat me. Told my parents 5 months after I left her that she was 2 months pregnant and it just had to be mine. Yeah, okay. Threatened to get her son's alcoholic junkie dad to do you in for not answering her calls. Called my boss various times at work, demanding that I be fired for being abusive to her at my workplace, which happens to be a supermarket. He laughed at her, and then told her that she was finally banned from the shop for harassing his staff members. Probably more, but thinking about it makes me feel like crap. After 3.5 years of abuse, and 2 children, my ex-wife decided that she wanted to ruin my life, had me arrested on false charges of domestic violence, which led to a plea bargain due to the fact that we were living on $10,000 a year. She refused to work the entire relationship. This led to a 3-year probation, which included group therapy sessions for abusers. During these sessions, patients were required to recount the episodes of the abuse and explain where they made mistakes. Due to this fact, that I hadn't actually committed any abuse, I was forced to lie, as lack of participation equals failure to abide by the requirements of the probation deal. This led to the judge threatening me with up to 3 years in prison. As a result, we fled the country, set up shop in the Middle East. I was forced to join the army and served as a combat soldier for 2 years. During the 2nd year of military service, I finally grew some balls, told her that I wanted a divorce. The resulting meltdown created a situation in which I was forced to flee my domicile. In the process, I forgot to take my ID. She spent the next year forging my signature on rent, phone, water, electrical, and credit card contracts. To this day, I'm still paying off over $200,000 in debt that she built up in my name. This figure does not include the debt that she incurred using my ID when she returned to the States. Oh, and she illegally kidnapped my children when she fled to the Middle East to return to America. So yeah, I definitely need a drink. This woman had cut off contact with our 3-year-old daughter. She happened to be a developmentally challenged child who loved her mom, but she doesn't even take the time to call her or stop by to say hi to her. She lives less than 30 minutes away from her mother. I've never been so pissed at someone in my life. The last time that she said that she would watch her, I intentionally didn't tell my daughter till we were walking out the door that she was going to go see her mother. I didn't want to give her hopes up. About 10 minutes into the drive, she calls and says that she won't be able to watch her. My daughter doesn't understand most things. So I just stopped at an ice cream parlor nearby, hoping that she would forget about seeing Mommy. I could tell that she was crushed by this. She didn't eat a single bite. When we got back to the house, she went straight to her room and then went to bed. She's usually the most bubbly person on the planet, but she couldn't even handle her mom ditching her. I ended up being the one getting blamed in her mind. She happened to have stole thousands of dollars, ruined my professional and personal life, and ruined our family financially, and I could care less about any of this. But if you treat your daughter like a dog, there's nothing that is going to dissipate my anger. We had been broken up for a couple of days, and she was getting the rest of her belongings out of my house. I happened to be at the gym, and texted to see if she had finished up. And I received a text message that she had, and then I finished lifting, and I headed home. I got to the house, and all the lights were off, except for the porch light. I opened up the front door, and I smelt gas. I later found out that she had turned the burners on my stove on high without it being lit. So when I got into the house, my first thought was that my furnace line had ruptured or something. I left all the lights off, and went back down into the basement to see if I could hear or smell anything near the furnace and the gas line, but there was no gas smell in the basement. I went back upstairs and checked the stovetop in the kitchen. Sure enough, one of the burners had been turned on high. It wasn't lit. I turned it off, proceeded to open up all the downstairs windows. It happens to be January, just so I can vent out the gas. My first thought that it couldn't have been done intentionally, because my thermostat kicking the furnace on, or me turning lights on, could have blown me up. The problem was that the knob can't just turn itself, and you need to depress, and then turn to light any of the burners on. Then I remembered what she told me once, jokingly, I thought at the time, which was, if I can't have you, then no one will. So yeah, that bitch just tried to blow me up, my house, and my cats.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.